Welcome to the next edition of the Stand Course podcast. Today I have Megan Collier, and she's also known as Megan UGC. She is a powerhouse content creator turned coach who built a six-figure UGC business in just 14 months. And now she's helping Gen Xers and Boomers launch their own successful UGC careers. With her ultimate UGC course and a thriving creator community, she blends authenticity, strategy, and clarity to help everyday people land brand deals with no influencer status needed. Welcome, Megan, to the Stay on Course podcast.
Thank you, Julie. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. But Megan, before we get started, I ask all of my guests, what's your favorite food?
I'm a big Thai food person, so I can always go for Thai. Pad Thai, Pad See Ew, and anything.
I love it. Do they have good spring rolls to Thai?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good
They're
spring
very good
rolls
ones,
too,
yeah.
right? I love a good spring roll. Well, Megan, you are doing some amazing things and I started following you a few years ago, so I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. But before we get into, your story and all the people that you're supporting, what is UGC? Let's tell the audience what it is first.
Yeah, for sure. So UGC stands for user generated content. So basically, in a nutshell, UGC creators get paid to create content for brands like of all sorts of brands. And instead of you acting as an influencer who would typically make content for a brand and post it to your own socials, you actually just getting hired by these brands to make the content, usually like short 30 to 60-second videos typically about their product or service, whatever they sell. And then you would just literally send that content to the brand so they can use it for their own marketing purposes. So like social media ads or posting on the brand's Instagram account or TikTok account, or even like, sometimes you can take pictures with a product that a brand hires you for and they'll use it for their email newsletter or their website or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of the basic explanation of what UGC is.
It's so interesting because basically you are the creator of the content in every sense of what creatorship means. You're the actor, you're the script writer, you're the camera person, you're the administrative assistant, you're basically the whole agency all in one person.
Correct. Yeah. And that, yes. But the great thing about UGC, because this is what intimidates so many people, and we can get into this later, but the great thing is that sometimes I'd say it's like 50-50. Sometimes brands will give you a whole script. You have to even think about the
Oh.
script. Depending on, what they want. If they already have, like, say that they ran an ad on social media and it's performing super well and they just want different faces to
Oh.
do that same kind of ad, they'll literally send you, hey, this script is working so well for us. Here's the script you can follow. Here's the video examples you can almost just replicate. So sometimes a lot of brain power is needed. You're going to do the whole thing, and other times it's quite simple. And again, you're just using like your iPhone or whatever kind of phone you have. So it's kind of nice. And that's kind of what's working really well with marketing is very authentic. Just pick up your phone and make a video. So it can be super simple sometimes. Other times it takes a little more work. But yeah, it just really depends.
I love it. Now, you said you started in 2014, right? Was that the year you started?
No, I've been doing UGC for 3 years.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
working full time, and then yeah, I heard about UGC in August, like literally 3 years ago, August of 2022. That's when I started.
Okay, and is it slowing down at all or is it picking up now? What's going
No,
on?
it's like the numbers are crazy. If you look at the graph, it's like UGC is just kind of taken off. When I started in 2022, not really like nobody was doing UGC. Um, and it was kind of just gaining some traction, but now it's working so well. I think like just to relate it to what's worked so that everybody can realize is like brands, big brands, small brands, medium-sized companies, they used to have to hire these massive production crews to
Yeah.
create commercials and like even social media ads several years ago. It would be like a 10,000 plus production with these massive production crews and all this stuff. And now what's working so well with marketing is just that authenticity, that trust that people want to see. So I think it's only taken off even more recently, and it's the demand is not slowing down at all.
Wow. Okay, so let's get into some of these ingredients for success. Somebody like me, Megan, let's use me as your avatar because I am your avatar.
Yeah,
Because that's how I found you, I guess. Like
yeah.
I am your avatar. Um, how would I get started? Like, what would be the first thing that I need to look at?
So the first thing, I mean, for me, and I think most people can say they're the same way. I'm such a visual learner, right? So when I started UGC or when I heard about it, the best thing I did was look at some other UGC example videos because I could explain how UGC is, what kind of videos, you're going to make. But just looking at some videos that other people have done is super helpful just to visually wrap your head around what the heck you're going to be doing if you
Yeah.
do decide to pursue UGC. So you could do that several ways. You could look at somebody's portfolio. My portfolio probably has like 20, probably over 20 videos I've done for companies. You could look on TikTok, just literally search UGC example video. There's going to be so many results. But just get your just get a visual on what you're going to be doing. Once it makes sense fully what UGC is and the kind of content you'll be creating, then one of the first steps is creating a portfolio website. And that scares a lot of people that are not used to having a website or like they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. But the good news is it's 2025, so it's pretty simple. Going on Canva, for example, is I have found the most beginner friendly, especially for people who are brand new to this entire world of social media and just like they maybe have done super different, career path before this. So yeah, going on Canva, typing in website portfolio, choosing a template that's already kind of built out in the same style. And then, adding your generation, and I know we're going to talk a lot about this, but your age, especially like most of the people that I teach are Gen Xers, baby boomers. So brands are literally looking for
For baby
that, like
boomers too?
oh yeah, my mom is 64 and she's been doing UGC a little bit like on the side. It's yeah, huge. I have a 74-year-old student who has made like close to like 100 UGC videos. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So all types, right? Because everyone's still consuming stuff, right? They're on social media, they're buying products depending on what stage of life they're at. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing. So brands are literally searching the keywords Gen X UGC creator on Google or baby boomer or over 50 UGC creator. So having those kind of
Oh.
keywords in your portfolio is super duper helpful. I've had students who have taken this advice and they've put that in there and they have like agencies are like, hey, I was just doing a Google search for a Gen X UGC creator and your portfolio popped up on the results. So having that is super important. And then the biggest thing when creating a portfolio is your video examples because your portfolio is really just going to be your one place that you send to brands so they could get to know you better, who you are, like what is your life experience, and to see some of the work you've done. And most people are like, Megan, I've literally never made a video in my life. I've done like this is brand new. I don't have any content to put in there. So what I did, because I also didn't in 2022, I went around my house and I chose random products and I just made video examples about those random products, like
Smart.
cat treats, like toys. My son was like one at the time, so like little toys that I got him on Amazon. I was making simple videos just to put some content in there so brands could get to know me a little better and see some of the work I've done. So that's always what I recommend.
Awesome. That's amazing. And then, brands find you, but how do you find the brands?
So actually at the beginning, you have to find the brands. So, eventually the goal is, that you're going to post some UGC example videos you've done on social media if you're willing to, and that's a great way to find or to have brands find you. But at the beginning, it's really just you connecting with brands and making it known to them that you do UGC. So, for example, one of the best ways to do this is number one, start with the brands you already love. So if you've been using a, face serum for the last 5 years and you're obsessed with it and you're like, oh my gosh, I could just talk about this thing all day. I'd tell all my friends and family about it. Start with those brands and go to their go to their website, find their email address and send them a quick pitch about why you love their product, how long you've been using it, and just maybe a couple video ideas you had about sharing your story, and start there because I mean, I guarantee even if people don't like think about it right now, if they walk around their house, they're gonna have so many products that they use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That is a great starting place to connect with those brands. So even like take out your phone or take out a piece of paper and a pen and just literally walk around and write down all the different products that you love and connect with them via email is what I typically suggest. Beyond that though, because UGC has like exploded in the last few years, there has been this increase in the amount of like apps, platforms, agencies that have been created for the sole purpose of connecting brands with UGC creators.
Nice.
So, for example, there's apps like Incense, B-roll, there's platforms like Join Brands, Brands Meet Creators, Coley, Breakfast.io, Vidsy, like the list can go on and on. So going to those places and just kind of like playing around with them and seeing what platforms you are drawn to, that's a great way to just create profiles on those platforms or apps. Because there's it's like a job board sometimes, right? So it's like, hey, we're a pet brand, like a pet probiotic or whatever. That's a big thing. Or like even BarkBox, which most people who have dogs know that company. Huge company. They're on a platform called breakfast.io, BRKFST.io. And I can't even count how many of my students have gotten a UGC deal with that huge brand because they're on that platform and they've made a profile on there. So you're able to connect with these brands actively looking for UGC creators, which is a really great way to start because a lot of the times it can be time consuming sending a bunch of emails. So hopping on some platforms to connect with brands directly there is a great way to also get started.
That's awesome. And like, is there one that you like the best? Because there's a lot of them.
So many. And there was not these platforms when I started. So I relied solely on emails and even Instagram DMs. So I don't actively like, have any of these profiles or rely on them for UGC deals. But I would say breakfast.io, Vidsy, and B-roll are probably a good few to start with.
Okay, cool. And like when you go to email these brands, like you don't put a person's name, you just kind of say, "Hey, I'm interested in doing UGC," or is sometimes can you find a title of someone at the company that does it?
You sometimes can. I have found it's typically going to be the influencer manager or partnerships director or creative director, something like that, kind of like a marketing title. So it's of course ideal to find that email. Even, hopping on LinkedIn, you can typically find who works at a company. There's obviously subscriptions that you can get. I think I pay like 60 or $70 a month for like hunter.io that gives you emails. But if you don't have that budget, then I would say looking on LinkedIn, if you can find it there or their website. But I would say just default to sending the generic email, info@company.com or whatever. Typically, what happens is it gets forwarded to the right person. I have also done and teach going to Instagram, like say that you're like, yes, I love this. protein powder I use. Like this actually happened to my sister who's doing UGC. She's only doing fitness UGC and she went to the company's Instagram profile, made sure she was following them, sent them a message, was like, hey, I'm a UGC creator. Here's the link to my portfolio. I'd love to create UGC for you guys. And they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds great. And so they talked literally only in Instagram DMs, and she landed a 3 UGC video deal. Solely on Instagram DMs, believe it or not, not no contact via email or anything. And this was like for a pretty big brand. So sometimes you can do that. Other times you can straight up just ask them for an email address and say, hey, I'm a UGC creator. I'd love to be connected with the person in charge of hiring UGC creators. Would you mind pointing me in the right direction? And typically it's a customer service person, right, that's answering these Instagram DMs. So they'll send you the email and then you can go from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And typically, how much money do they get paid for each video that they do?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a crazy wide range. I always recommend like new UGC creators who are just starting out charge like $150 to $200 per UGC video. And then also offer maybe some bundles. So I always say like it's so much better and more profitable for you as the UGC creator to do, say, like 5 UGC videos for one brand as opposed to 1 UGC videos for 5 separate brands, because you've got all the extra, email communication, learning about their products if you need to, if you're new to it. So you always want to try to get more videos per UGC deal. So kind of making it a no-brainer for them. Like instead of, $200 for one video, I can do 3 videos for you for say $500. So it's like a little bit of a discount, but you're still making, $500 instead of 200. So that's always what I recommend.
And what's the highest someone can make?
I mean, it's a lot. I started charging about this same price, 150 to 200. Now I can make easily, not every brand has this budget, but I can make, over $1,000 for just one 30-second video or 45-second video. It really just depends on what the brand's budget is, your experience, and then what they're going to use it for. So if they're going to run it as ads where they're, paying me $1,000 for one video, but they're going to spend $10,000 a day on ads and make a bunch of money on it, it typically makes sense for ad content that you can charge a little bit more if you know what you're doing.
All right, that sounds awesome. And what kind of equipment should we have in our toolbox here?
I love this question because I think most people think they need a crazy amount of stuff, and I'm a very big believer of keeping it very simple. So, you already have your phone. You're going to use that to film. I recommend a tripod and a selfie light. That's really like the main things. If you're like, I started in a very dark old apartment, and so and I live in Seattle, so it's like dark about 8 to 9 months out of the year. And so a selfie light or ring light was very, very, very needed for me. If you have natural light, if you live in a naturally sunny place, you could really utilize that natural light is the best. But a selfie light or ring light, 15, $20 on Amazon is going to do the job. And then some type of tripod just to make your life easier and get those different kind of angles. A lot of people ask about microphones. I actually rarely use a mic, but I
Wow.
always tell people do a little test, like film in your kitchen and then listen to the video. And if it sounds terrible, then of course, like go get a $25 little lapel mic on Amazon and that'll do the job as well.
Wow. This is crazy. And then, so there's not really a lot of upfront costs, but what about the video editing? How do you do your video editing?
I use CapCut,
Oh
which
my
is probably the
gosh.
most popular. I would say, and I mean, I have, I've got an iPad, I got a Mac desktop. I literally do everything on my phone, except maybe
Wow.
emails and stuff. So I'm on my iPhone. I have an iPhone 15, I think, the bigger one, and I record on my phone. I upload everything into CapCut, and I do
This is
pretty
ridiculous.
simple edits.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, CapCut is so basic. I have
yeah.
CapCut and but I like Camtasia because I feel like I can have more control. I don't like editing video on my phone though.
hmm
So that's interesting, but it just goes to show you that you don't need a lot of fancy stuff to start this.
Yes. Yeah, that's honestly like I when I heard about UGC, that was a thing that stood out to me because I was like, okay, I need extra money, right? That's why I'm doing UGC as a side hustle. Diapers are very expensive. Like if you have young kids, like it just life gets expensive. So I'm like, okay, I need a side hustle. I heard about UGC. It made sense to me. Like I already knew that brands needed a bunch of content. I just figured they were working with influencers. So for me, it was like green light after green light because I didn't need a ton of upfront cost, right? I already had like a tripod. I could already use my phone. So I barely spent, I don't think I spent any money starting UGC. And then I heard also another key fact of not having followers because I had like 200 followers at the time when I started UGC. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to worry about going viral or like creating this huge following because again, you're just literally sending the content to the brands for them to use. So that was like both like a kind of like a sigh of relief. I was like, okay, this is great. I don't have to be an influencer. I don't need a bunch of money to start a business. And I think a lot of people are in that same position where they're like, I don't have like a bunch of money to drop and like start this business. And I also don't have a bunch of followers. So I think it's a very big relief for most people knowing that they can actually start this like literally today.
Today. So if I went out
Yeah.
there today, I could literally start making money tomorrow, maybe.
I mean, yeah, maybe. It's a numbers game, right? So it took me 10 days to land my first UGC deal. And that was, sending a bunch of emails, sending a bunch of DMs. I have students of mine I have one student, this will be relevant to a lot of people because a lot of people, are still working their careers when they start UGC is one of my students who's 52 years old, her name is Bianca. She is a acupuncturist, so she's like in the health and wellness industry. She made $11,500 in her first 63 days. So I wouldn't say that's normal. Like she hit the ground running. She's very confident. Like she was just like, yep, I'm doing this. I have another student who's a physical therapist, and like within the first day or two, she realized after taking my course, she realized, oh my gosh, I'm a PT. I'm working with all these patients of mine, and I use these two specific medical devices on them every single day. I should just pitch to these medical device companies. That's
Wow.
exactly what she did. She got those two businesses, those two companies to say yes to her. And so she was literally making money very, very fast. There's other people who are like, not as confident and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if my portfolio looks good," or they got a bunch of stuff. They got kids running around or they just got a full schedule. So it takes them a little bit of time, but the process of starting UGC is actually quite simple. It's just doing it and knowing that
Consistently.
you can do it. Yeah. Yeah. Like
It's
anything
a
else, right?
Well, yeah, it's a sales job. I keep
Yeah.
telling people like if you have a business, you have a sales job,
Yeah.
So it's all the sales part of it. Yeah, okay, so the modality is the video. That's your product is the video. But like with me, my product is coaching.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I'm selling, but the process of selling is the same. It's getting attention, getting people to hear about what you do, pitching them, you may not be talking to them directly, it may be on the back and forth online. And do you get to talk to people directly doing this at all? The
What
producer?
the
The people that are hiring you, do they sometimes get on the phone with you or have meetings with you about this?
Yeah, good question. So I realized at the beginning it was more of these brands who were just starting with UGC. They didn't really have a process in place. So yeah, I was like hopping on Zoom calls. Like the first brand that hired me was an app company, which by the way, apps are a really great place to start. They typically have more money. But they hired me for 5 UGC videos. But before they hired me, they just wanted to hop on like a super quick 15-minute video, like Zoom call. And so that was just like super basic. But now I think so many companies I'm finding are doing UGC. They have this whole like process, this whole system where it's like, hey, we just need to email you. We'll send you the creative brief or like info, send a contract, sign it, boom, you're good to go. Every now and then a company will still want to hop on a Zoom call with me, but it's getting more, it's getting less frequent, I would say.
Okay. So, and then the process, like when you send it in, do they ask for changes sometimes? And like you send it back and forth?
Yeah, sometimes. Like a big worry for new UGC creators, I think, is They think that they're not going to have any clue. Like they're just going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I have no ideas for these videos. This company just hired me for 5 videos. I have no idea what the heck I'm going to do." But that is so rare because when a company is hiring you and paying you like a good chunk of money, they're typically going to send you like what I mentioned in the beginning, like either a script, a video example that you can kind of replicate. They're going to give you some type of creative brief typically. So sometimes it's a bullet point list or it's like info about their company. Like for example, I just got hired for like this pet sitting app because I have a couple cats and pet UGC is also really really big. So this pet sitting app reached out to me. And so when they sent me the information on how to make the videos, like what kind of videos they were looking for, they sent me kind of like this PDF explaining what their company is all about. And then another PDF about, hey, we want you to do this, like focus on natural lighting, show the pets mainly. You're going to be in the video, but show the pets mainly. And, just a bullet point list. And then they had two different video ideas and concepts that they wanted me to create. So it's not like I'm going in blind to making these videos for these companies. They're going to give you information. And if they don't, if something like is very unclear or like you're just confused about something, you can always just like these are other humans on the other side of the computer, right? So you can always ask them and like it's their job to help you be clear on what you're going to do. So that's something that I think a lot of people worry about. But usually, it's they're working with you on making sure it's clear. And usually in my contracts, and typically what I found for other companies is they include two revisions. So say that I send the video to to this company and they're like, "Oh, okay, well at the, 10-second mark, we really would like if you showed the cats this way." And so I would just go in and edit the video a little bit. But honestly, it's kind of rare that at least for me, like I don't have to do a ton of revisions because everything is pretty clear and set up before I even hit record.
Yeah. And so is this really like a full-time job? Can people make this their full-time income?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I think like everyone, obviously everyone's financial needs are so different, but it took me 14 months. And I was making six figures at my job, and it took me 14 months to replace that. So it wasn't an overnight thing. It was not easy by any means, raising a toddler and working full-time, demanding job and doing UGC on the side. But I have other friends that quit their job within 3 months because they don't have a ton of bills and they didn't need to make a ton of money. But I mean, I again, like it's such a range and it depends on you, your experience, your like what you're doing in your UGC business. But of course, like there's so much demand. And I think that if you're willing to learn how to take a product and take your phone, film and edit it in a way that allows a brand to use it to make more money for their company, you've just like unlocked this crazy valuable skill because that's really at the end of the day what every brand needs. Especially, it's 2025. If a brand is not on social media and they're not like putting any efforts into social media right now, I don't think they'll be around in the next couple years. So most brands realize this and they realize the power of user generated content and most of them, not every single one, but most of them are willing to pay for people who know how to do it.
Wow. You know, we were at a conference not too long ago. Gary Vaynerchuk was there,
Hmm.
and he kind of was mentioning that, we have about 3 more years left of this until like glasses come in and we're not going to be doing it the same way. Do you think that's going to affect like social media and user generated content when we start to like morph into a different modality?
Oh, you mean like artificial intelligence and everything?
I don't know. He's kind of telling us that we're no longer going to be like swiping. We're going to be looking at it on glasses.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, the glasses thing. Yeah, so from my standpoint, it all comes down to sales, right? So how are we, even in the AI driven world, how are we all as humans going to learn about different products, different apps we should have, different things we're going to use, even if our daily life looks different, even if we're wearing glasses, the meta glasses or whatever, we're still going to be consuming content, I believe. It's going to maybe look different, it's going to feel different, but it's still going to be content.
Hmm.
Um, And how also are we going to know to wear those glasses, right? So I see a ton of ads for those glasses, UGC style ads for those glasses. So I think it's going to evolve, right? Like everything else that we've done. Podcasts used to not be a thing. Now they're a huge thing. Everyone wants to do a podcast.
Yeah.
So I think everything is always evolving, and it's just like tailoring it and like learning and being adaptable to those changes that I think those are the people, especially in this space, that are going to win.
Yeah. Okay, so this podcast is about ingredients for success. And so what I'm hearing is that people that do this, they're business owners. They have their own business, they have to manage it as a business, they have to sell, right? So I'm just wondering, what are some of the ingredients for success as far as the way you're showing up, the way you're operating? What would be the top three ingredients for success that you need to have as a UGC creator?
Yeah, I would say number one, first and foremost, is a willingness to learn. Most people, especially people that have come into my world, that are Gen Xers, baby boomers, 50s, 60s, 70s, it's a lot of the words, a lot of the terminology, just like social media in general, it's very intimidating. So I would say a willingness to learn and know that this is just a learned skill. It might be, a little bit scary, like, filming yourself. A lot of people are not comfortable on camera when they first start because they've never done it before.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You just have to be willing to learn. That is the top number one ingredient for success in this space is a willingness, and also like just to give yourself some grace. Like I always tell people that should maybe become your new favorite word is grace, because you're gonna be so hard on yourself, right? Like if you're if you've never done it before, you're first, like my mom, I always give my mom as an example. She's 64. She started UGC about a year ago and doing it very part-time, but she's been a nurse for over 40 years, raised 5 kids, has 16 grandkids. Like she's literally never before doing UGC, never picked up her phone to film a video, never edited a video, and did not know what the heck she was doing, right? So obviously, she learned from me and the lessons that I teach inside my course. But her first video that she ever did was a little rough. Like it wasn't perfect. Like I was like, okay, there's for sure some things that need to be changed here, right? But her
Mhm.
second video, because she kept doing it, kept messing around on CapCut and just was willing to do it and be a little messy in the beginning, her second video was night and day. And she's so good. Like I always tell her, Mom, you're so good at UGC. And she really is, but she has zero background in this. So number one ingredient, willing to learn, like just have a willingness to learn. Um, and then number two is like just know your worth. Because a lot of people come into this space, and they get very used to gifted collaborations where that just basically means that companies are going to send you free products in exchange for making some content for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, I think that it sometimes instills this like, oh, I'm not really worthy yet to get paid because I'm brand new to this space and I've never
Uh,
done a video. And it's like, yeah, I'm fine with like, a $50 product for free and, 3 hours of my time, right? So I think knowing what your worth is and also knowing how valuable this skill is that you're learning. Like I said before with the ad, a company could pay me $1,000, which is a lot of money, right, to me, but to them, they're making $20,000 to $50,000 a day on this one video that I've created for them. So knowing how it works on like the back end side usually instills this confidence into people like, oh, if a company reaches out to me and they only want to, give me $50 for one UGC video, you kind of hopefully get this confidence eventually, like, okay, I'm going to say no to that because my time is worth more than
mm.
$50 and the skill that I have now learned is worth more than that. So, yeah, number two is just knowing your worth. And number three, I think, is having fun with it. I think that I have a lot of people that come to me, I get a lot of, messages a day, emails a day, people just spilling out their biggest fears, right? Just their biggest fears in this space. I'm so afraid. I'm afraid I suck. I'm afraid companies aren't going to like me. I have no experience. And I think that you just have to let go of those things and have a little bit of fun with it. Like at the end of the day, we're all just here. These are social media videos, right? Like it's not the end of the world, but if you're willing to have fun with it and play around and just like be a lifelong learner and be like, oh my gosh, this is such a fun thing to do because UGC is so fun. Maybe like you, I've worked for companies in the past. It's not fun every single day to wake up and do something that you don't like.
Yeah.
UGC is so fun. You're collaborating, you're using these creative juices that maybe you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And it's just this fun thing. If you allow it to be fun, I think that it's gonna be more enjoyable and you're gonna make more money. So those are the top three ingredients, I think.
I love that. I love that. And you know what? The truth is that when you start anything, you're not good at it.
Exactly. That's what most people forget, right? It's like I look back and I've like dabbled in so many things. I've had so many jobs, even I'm only like 34, right? But I've had so many jobs and I look back at the first day at those jobs and I'm like, I probably looked like an idiot with my, chicken with my head cut off. Like I just didn't look like I knew what I was doing. So I think knowing that you're gonna be messy in the beginning and knowing like nothing is permanent, right? Like the first few UGC videos, actually the first several UGC videos that I did, they're nowhere to be found on my portfolio. Like I don't have them. Like I've just done better. I've gotten better. I've gotten hired by other companies and I've replaced them. So nothing is permanent. You're always going to evolve. You're always going to get better. And I think that's hopefully a relief to a lot of people.
I love it. I love it. I love what you're doing, Megan. It's amazing. I'm going to I'm going to try this. I'm going to try
I
it
love it. Yes,
because
you should.
I have been creating content and I've just been using it. So what we did the other day after we spoke to you is the person who helps me with my web design is putting together my portfolio page.
Love it. Love it.
So
I'm excited for you.
yeah, so she's gonna have she says maybe like this week I should have it.
Fantastic. Yes.
So,
That's great.
and then I'm ready to go. I have been creating videos for 3 years. So you've been doing this for 3 years. I've been doing podcasting for 3 years. So for 3 years, I've been editing videos. I've been creating videos. I've been doing the audios. I'm always using my phone to take a video. I go to a restaurant. I tape it from the outside. I go to the inside. I'm taping like what we're eating. I'm taping like, some thought that I have. So I have all the content for my portfolio. I didn't, you don't realize it until you start like looking at all your stuff. I'm like, oh, we could
Yes.
use this. There were like 25 videos that I could use.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's what people like. You're already doing user generated
I'm
content, right?
already
You're just not
doing
getting
it.
paid, right?
I'm just
You're
not
just
getting
not like
paid.
doing it for specific companies. So I love it. I think you'll do great.
Yeah. And one of the things that I kept doing is this is really funny. I have this Florida, it's called Florida Living Life on my TikTok. And every time I get on, I go here in the state of Florida, here in the state of Florida. Like, and that's my tagline here in the state of
Yeah.
Florida. But what I didn't really realize is that I'm doing commercials for Florida.
Yes.
I'm doing commercials for the state of Florida. And one of my videos, I was saying how great Florida was and you should come here. And I go, Florida welcomes you if you want to come. Florida welcomes you. Like a whole commercial. And I got like 30,000 views on this one video.
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
gosh.
that's one of my commercials. But at the time I
Yes.
did it, I didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Once the light bulb goes off, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been doing. I love that. And another point, like, is travel UGC. I mean, literally, the state of Florida is probably paying someone right now to have a separate TikTok account to do exactly what you're doing right now. And you could even pitch to like the board, like the travel board, the tourism board, and everything. And they want that kind of content because that's literally how people find out about places, right? So I love it. Yeah, that's that. Even having that kind of an example on your portfolio is really, really great too.
Yeah, I'm going to show it to you. When we're done, I'm going to take 2 seconds to show it to you. But
Perfect.
okay, so if you're out there in listening land and you need a side hustle, if you want to pivot your career, UGC. I say UGC, Megan.
UGC, I completely agree. And I think that the most exciting thing that I have seen, which has been so cool, and work in this kind of same space where you see this total like new chapter, right? Like phase tours, right? It's like you see this new chapter for people that it's like out of left field for some people. They're like, I was literally just scrolling on TikTok. They see me yapping about UGC, telling them to do it, and they're like, "Okay, I think I'm gonna do it." And then like a few months later, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I have someone that wants to like literally been doing real estate for 20 years and wants to quit real estate because of UGC." And it's just it's so invigorating. It's just like, oh my gosh, this like could be a really new, not only like income, generating like revenue stream, but it's just like so fun. And it's so I think the possibilities are endless, and that just makes it all the more exciting to dive into.
Love it, love it. Where can my audience find out more about you?
Yeah, so I'm most active on TikTok at Megan_UGC and then Instagram as well. But yeah, I try to go live on TikTok, answer questions for people who are like, spinning their wheels about UGC. And yeah, I'd love to if you want to learn more, obviously I'd love to have you inside my course and community, but start with TikTok and hopefully I can see people there.
Love it, love it. Megan, thank you so much for being a guest on the Stay on Course podcast.
Thanks for having me, Julie. It's been super fun.